Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, you are not prepared for this one. The streets of hip-hop are on fire, and Jim Jones, who once walked through Harlem like a king, is now reportedly crying after receiving a bombshell so outrageous and wild that even Maury Povich would have screamed, "You are not the father." Or are you sure you heard me correctly? According to shocking new reports, Chrissy Elkin, Jim's longtime partner and reality TV ride or die star, has been enmeshed in the messiest scandal of the decade. It's possible that she was smuggled out of a courtroom by a dubious intern with a poor Wi-Fi connection, which Jim just learned about. Is this the last nail in the coffin for the Dipset dynasty? More importantly, how did this even happen under Jim's nose? Stick around, grab your popcorn, and buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal is the most shocking betrayal in hip-hop history. Chrissy has been hiding a secret child all along. About to tell you will make love and hip-hop look like a Disney film. This is the scandal of all scandals, and we're getting right in. The courtroom, which was meant to handle yet another celebrity, drama in silence, abruptly turns into the scene of the most shocking betrayal in Harlem history, as the cameras flash and the whispers turn to gasps. Has anyone ever seen Jim Jones' Dipset royalty, Mr. We Fly High? According to our extremely trustworthy, completely dubious, sources close to the matter, Jim has just fallen apart under the weight of a reality that no amount of street cred or ice swagger could protect him from, so what's got the rapper turned mogul? Chrissy Elkin, the woman who held him down for decades, who stuck by him through label wars, tour drama, and enough reality show fights to make us look tame, who literally proposed to Jim on national television, is said to have sobbed into his Louis Vuitton scarf, 2 words that describe him. According to reports from what can only be described as the most chaotic court hearing since Cardi B pleaded guilty to throwing shoes at strippers, Chrissy has been hiding the biggest secret, not a side gig, a dubious LLC, or even a burner Instagram account, in what is still one of VH1's most paused moments. Discussing a whole child, a whole human being, that was purportedly concealed from Jim, the world, and most likely even the producers of Love and Hip Hop. I know what you're thinking, but hold on a second. How can a man who once asserted that he had eyes and ears everywhere overlook a whole baby-sized elephant in the room? According to people in the know, the janitor who was sweeping outside the courtroom overheard everything. Jim was taken by surprise during his testimony when he was presented with shocking documents, including alleged text message receipts. And, for those of you who are living under a rock, or simply Jim and Chrissy have been the couple of chaos from Harlem block parties to Love and Hip Hop. They practically invented the blueprint for We're Toxic, but they make it iconic through breakups, makeup, and onag again. If you're too young to remember the Dipset era, bless your millennial hearts. Here's the backstory to fully appreciate how crazy this is. We assumed that Cameron, also known as Killer Cam, the petty king of hip-hop, or the man who chose to put gasoline on this already blazing dumpster fire, had survived all of the off-again drama, missed weddings, matching tattoos, and public arguments that had fans yelling, "Just marry her already." The most vicious courtroom clapback in reality TV history claims that Cam entered the courtroom like a grim reaper dressed in pink minks and showed the receipts for Chrissy's alleged betrayal. Because let's face it, if Cameron is present, something sloppy is going to happen to your honor, Cameron allegedly said. I'm going to reveal why my brother Jim has been acting like he was in a love story, but in reality, he was starring in a daytime soap opera, according to our anonymous legal insider. A special thanks goes out to the court sketch artist who revealed the truth. He pulls out an envelope as if he were at the Source Awards. Allegedly demonstrates that Chrissy had a secret affair with another man years prior, and that relationship resulted in a child that Jim was unaware existed. This is not just a random messy rumor. Oh no, the courtroom apparently erupted as if it were the BET Awards, and you could hear the gasps when someone revealed Beyoncé was pregnant once more. After a bad drop, Jim reportedly sank into his chair, took off his designer sunglasses, and whispered to his lawyer, "I can't believe this." And who could this be? The man who built his reputation on loyalty, street code, and keeping. Since his most trusted partner is allegedly keeping this kind of devastating secret, loyalty isn't just a word to him. It's his brand and his entire persona. This wasn't just betrayal. It was character assassination in broad daylight. And if you think the courtroom was rocked, just think of the screenshots that were leaked online. Twitter was a war zone with memes, hashtags, TikToks, and Think pieces from fake relationship experts who somehow earned a master's degree in dipset drama. Before Jim could even wipe away his tears, social media exploded. One Twitter user perfectly captured the moment when Jim Jones learned about Chrissy's secret child. Chrissy has a secret child is the plot twist we didn't realize we needed in 2024. While fans were busy figuring out timelines and calculating celebrity paternity, this occurred prior to the show. During season 3, Jim reportedly vanished from public view. Sources claim he canceled all appearances of a scheduled club hosting event and unfollowed Chrissy on Instagram, which, let's face it, is essentially filing for divorce in 2024. In the meantime, Chrissy has remained silent, not a single post or comment, which has only increased the rumors because, as any competent fake news investigator is aware, silence is guilt. Or at the very least, it makes the even Cameron, who is typically the king of shady Instagram captions, has kept it strangely low-key for the time being. But believe me, if history is any indication, he's just loading the next round of petty for the ideal moment. Now, everyone is left wondering the same thing. How in the hell did Jim not understand how a man? The judge slammed the gavel down and said sharply, "We are adjourned until tomorrow morning. Further evidence and witness testimonies will be presented." Surrounded by cameras, friends, and haters miss a secret this big. Is this the ultimate betrayal, or is there more to this story than we've been told? Displayed. As reporters and photographers rushed the courthouse steps like untamed animals, the crowd burst into stunned conversation. And this is where things take an even darker turn. The morning after was anything from peaceful, and by daylight, the courthouse had turned into the inside the courthouse. Tensions were at an all-time high as Jim Jones arrived, accompanied by his legal team. The hottest circus in town, reporters, bloggers, TikTok detectives, and every shade gossip page imaginable were camped outside like sneakerheads waiting for a new Jordan drop. The atmosphere was electric, chaotic, and unquestionably messy, just as the internet likes it. Cameron arrived fashionably late, wearing a bright pink tracksuit and what could only be described as "I told you so" energy. As the court resumed, the judge reminded the courtroom to maintain composure. He had a huge hoodie pulled over his head, sunglasses on, and a face that said, "One thing I did not wake up for this, Chrissy," and issued a warning that any outbursts would not be allowed, which obviously meant nothing because the atmosphere was too chaotic, gossipy, and scandalous for anyone to act in. Then came the next shocking revelation. The prosecution, supported by unnamed sources who allegedly included a resentful ex-friend and a hairstylist who overheard everything, provided what they claimed was indisputable evidence of Chrissy's purported double life. Exhibit A purportedly revealed private text messages between Chrissy and a man who was only identified in court documents as Mr. X. According to the documents, Mr. X and Chrissy had rekindled an old romance around the time Jim and Chrissy were purportedly working on everybody in the courtroom gasped, including Cameron, who had been scrolling through his phone all morning like he was bored and raised an eyebrow at the now famous line that had Twitter in a complete meltdown. He can't know not yet. The texts were full of cryptic flirtations, talk of secret meetings and wedding plans. Jim reportedly froze, according to witnesses, and appeared to have been struck by a sledgehammer of betrayal. His attorneys frantically whispered as the prosecution proceeded to reveal their mountain of evidence, which included the purported bank records that showed Chrissy had been sending substantial amounts of money each month to a private trust established in a minor's name. The prosecution claimed that Chrissy was providing financial support for a child Jim was unaware of, while the defense contended that the payments were for private family matters and charitable donations. But the damage had already been done, and social media was already in full-blown spiral mode. Conspiracy theorists assembled chronologies, linked past Love and hip-hop episodes, discovered strange gaps in Chrissy's Instagram posts, and even compared Mr. X's infant photos to demonstrate resemblance. One TikTok post went viral with the confident statement, "Look at that nose, it's genetics, babe." The comments pure chaos, the views over 2 million in under 8 hours as the circus raged online. Jim sat silently, no tweets, no posts, not even a passive-aggressive mood meme. Some fans began posting side-by-side photos of Jim from years ago versus now with captions like, "This man has aged 15 years overnight, prayers up." In the meantime, Cameron, who never wastes a good occasion for trouble, shared a boomerang of himself, drinking tea with the comment, patience is everything. However, back in court, things were about to become even wilder when the next witness was a former acquaintance of Chrissy's who was protected by, in her testimony, Jane Doe claimed that Chrissy had told her years ago about an accident that resulted in a child, and that she had no intention of ever telling Jim about it. The courtroom erupted in applause once more, and the judge twice struck the gavel, but this didn't help. Jane Doe further claimed that Chrissy had justified the secrecy by stating, "I couldn't risk him finding out." For the first time since the story broke, Jane Chrissy was afraid that the truth would destroy not only their relationship, but also their lucrative reality TV endorsements, public image as the ultimate hip-hop power couple, and their relationship itself. According to reports, he looked up and stared straight ahead without blinking, saying, "This wasn't just betrayal, this was destruction." The rumors circulating outside the courtroom had become full-fledged media storms, with tabloids screaming headlines and the baby bombshell that finally revealed Dipset Chrissy's darkest secret. Revealed Jim Jones's famous video, "We Fly High to We Cry High," with the caption changed to "We Cry High." Another viral hit featured Mona Scott Young wearing devil horns, allegedly planning how to turn this into 10 new episodes of Love and Hip Hop. While the public laughed in the courtroom, the judge declared that more witnesses would be heard the next day after the defense, evidently shaken, contended that none of the evidence proved anything conclusively, that the alleged texts were taken out of context, that the payments were charitable family support, and that the witness testimony was untrustworthy hearsay from a former friend who had turned opportunist. As the court adjourned, Jim stood slowly and pulled the hood back over his head. Reporters were frantically typing notes. Courtroom sketch artists were documenting every dramatic reaction, and fans outside were live streaming in hopes of catching even a shadow of Jim or Chrissy walking in or out. There was also a possibility that Mr. X himself would make an appearance. The world waited to see if Mr. X would show up and finally reveal the truth, if Chrissy would break her silence, if Jim would even recover from this, if Cameron's petty reign would continue to escalate, and if he left without saying anything to anyone. Cameron followed behind, grinning as though he already knew he had one more trick up his sleeve. Outside, fans gathered with placards that read, "Jim, blink twice, if you're okay." Another cruelly read, "Chrissy had a whole side quest and Jim didn't even get the side mission notification." The media named it Judgment Day for Dipset. Then, as if the gods of drama were planning the final season finale, and when the unconfirmed news flashed across everyone's phones, the streets went crazy. According to reports, helicopters were already airborne, security was doubled, and the internet did what it does best. As the sun sank over New York City, the only question that remained on everyone's mind was whether Jim Jones was going to lose not just his relationship, but his entire legacy, which the fans didn't have. The countdown had begun, and day 3 of the trial promised to be the most explosive yet. The world held its breath, wondering what would happen next. The scandal wasn't slowing down. In fact, it was about to blow up again. The sun rose over Manhattan, but the city felt heavier and darker, as if even the cameras, reporters, fans, and fake experts were getting ready to swarm the courthouse once again. Long to wait, day 3 was just hours away. Concrete was aware of what was going to happen. Crowds had already assembled outside the courthouse at dawn. Some people had skipped work, others had flown in from other states. Influencers were live streaming from the steps, news vans lined the block, and day 3 of the trial had been formally renamed the day Mr. When the X arrived, an unmarked black SUV pulled up, the door opened, and a tall, sharply dressed man in a navy suit and dark glasses emerged. The crowd gasped, wondering if this was the enigmatic Mr. X. The reporters frantically pushed microphones toward him, but he said nothing, just straightened his tie and entered. This was not the larger-than-life Harlem hustler we had known. Instead, he was a man watching the pieces of his world fall apart as Cameron entered the courtroom wearing a Dipset varsity jacket. Jim Jones was sitting quietly, flanked by his attorneys. His hoodie gone, his face bare and hollow, jacket and an expression that said, "I live for this mess." The judge came in, ordered silence, and the last day of testimony started. Mr. X took the stand, and the gallery leaned forward as if they were going to hear the verdict of a murder trial. Mr. X affirmed that he had known Chrissy for years and that he said that during a brief but intense affair many years ago, Chrissy became pregnant and gave birth in secret. According to him, Chrissy insisted Jim could never know because she was afraid that telling the truth would destroy their relationship, which had once been more than just friends. The gasps came right on cue. From a distance, the courtroom sat, in stunned quiet as Jim Jones looked up, and for the first time in hours, his eyes focused on the man who claimed to be the child's father. Mr. X also mentioned their relationship and her work, saying he had respected her desires but had always been involved in the child's upbringing. After revealing what put Twitter into a tailspin, Mr. X said that he and Chrissy had signed a private legal agreement to keep everything secret, including Chrissy's monthly child support payments. He reportedly murmured, "I gave her everything." Was a document that was allegedly so secret that even Jim's own lawyers were unaware that it existed. And yes, the court had a copy. As soon as the news broke, the crowd outside erupted, and within seconds, memes about Chris's secret child, Mr. X or Jim Jones's trial went viral. One post featured Jim Jones's Dipset chain, edited with the words "trust issues" rather than diplomats. However, the damage was already done. The court of public opinion had already rendered its decision at the lunch break, and Jim left the room as the defense rushed to object, claiming the documents were unauthenticated, that Mr. X was pursuing fame, and that everything he had said was a deftly constructed lie intended to undermine a well-known couple. As proceedings resumed, the judge addressed the elephant in the room, even though this case was still technically a civil dispute. Security photographers around the building caught the moment his head was down, shoulders slumped, and Chrissy was nowhere to be seen. Cameron, on the other hand, emerged eating a hot dog and waving to fans like he was walking a red carpet. Due to the startling evidence that was revealed, state and federal authorities became interested. Rumors of fraud, money laundering, and unreported child support monies began to circulate like vultures, and several record labels started to quietly withdraw their contracts with Jim's sponsors. At the end of the day, Jim's lawyer asked for an urgent adjournment to examine the new evidence and prepare a defense against possible criminal exposure. The judge granted it, stating that the court would reconvene in 2 weeks, but the fallout was occurring in real time as reality TV producers debated whether to scrap or supercharge the upcoming season. Headlines couldn't wait 2 weeks for Jim Jones, the collapse of a hip-hop legend. Chrissy's child bombshell might bring down the Dipet empire. Cameron declares victory as Jim plunges into a career crisis. Naturally, social media had its own interpretation, with a viral TikTok dubbed Jim the new Tristan Thompson of hip-hop generating a speculative Twitter thread about whether Chrissy had been playing the long game for years. Some fans demanded forgiveness, while others said Jim was done. As the courtroom cleared, Jim reportedly stood for a few seconds before leaving by himself. Cameron allegedly walked by and muttered, "Told you," whether Jim heard him or not. That the most dramatic courtroom drama in recent hip-hop history was over for the time being, but the aftershocks had only just started. The following morning, the Dipset merchandise store inexplicably went offline, and Jim's social media accounts remained silent until Chrissy finally posted a mysterious black square without a caption. That only stoked more rumors about whether it was an apology, a power move, or a farewell. Meanwhile, Cameron hosted a surprise Instagram live stream called Petty Wins Again, in which he gave his followers a casual recap of the entire drama while sipping tea and listening to background instrumentals. He concluded the stream with a final joke. "At least I don't have to find every blogger, podcaster, and couch detective had a hunch," and this tale dominated headlines for weeks. Fans questioned if Jim and Chrissy would be prosecuted with fraud, if Jim would sue for emotional damages, or if Mr. X would now seek custody. There are currently no definitive answers. Chrissy is still silent, Jim is still missing, Cam is still Cam, and the world is still glued to the mess. What do you think makes Chrissy the best villain, or is there more to this story than anyone realizes? Was Jim caught off guard, or did he ignore warning signs? Will Cameron ever grow weary of being the king of petty? Spoiler alert, probably not. This is just the beginning. There will be more leaks, receipts, and courtroom drama. You won't want to miss it. What happens next? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Which team are you on? Jim, Chrissy, Cameron, or Chrissy? We want to hear it all. If you enjoy sarcastic celebrity drama, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. I promise you'll want to be the first to know when in the world of celebrity fake news, the tea never stops brewing. My friends, This is the messy, chaotic, jaw-dropping story that no one saw coming. Jim Jones broke Chrissy, exposed Cameron, and somewhere out there, smiling. Thank you for watching, and until the next time, stay messy and skeptical. Like the king of petty, he is. But don't settle in just yet. This story is far from over, so right now, we want to hear your wildest theories. Was Jim totally caught off guard, or was he simply ignoring all the signs? Is Chrissy playing some sort of advanced survival game, or is this the ultimate betrayal? Let's face it, if you're as addicted to celebrity drama as we are, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Is Cameron just stirring things up for fun, or does he have a bigger plan up his sleeve? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Coming next because, believe me, in the realm of false news controversies, the drama never